What's up, planet Earth, and welcome back to the channel. Most importantly, welcome to the premiere of the good stuff. So what's gonna happen with this is basically we sit down, we have an amazing conversation about the ban list, about the regionals, about sets coming out, about cards coming out, and things of that nature. And I figured, what best way to kind of separate everything into its own kind of individual categories, from like gameplay to just discussions, so that way you guys, if you guys are only here for the discussions, you guys will have a specific playlist you guys can go and peek through, or if some of you guys are just here for the gameplay, you have that little specific list to get through as or to look at as well. So today we're actually going to talk about the ban list. The ban list is actually coming out from this time of the recording and the time of the stream in 2 days, or at least it's supposed to come out in 2 days. And a lot of discussion revolves around Summon Sorceress, which I've released a video ages ago, in my opinion. But I feel the need to revisit this because some things are kind of going down south right now. Another thing is Gumblar, and then of course balancing figures for like Sky Strikers. Arguably bringing back some other archetypes, that of pen magicians, and there was another and what's that one big boy Rongo card? I don't remember his name. But before we dive into that, grabbing the wrong mouse, before we dive into that, feel free to support this channel by checking out the online store and finding out the goodies that make your goodies feel good. These are just one of the very few items that will always support us here in this channel, as well as you hitting the like button, follow, or subscribe, which also will support us in any and many and every way possible. So you don't have to get something, but also bear in mind, if you do plan on getting something, I don't know why all of these still say new, but if you do plan on getting something from the store, this some of the products here are due to come down. So they're going to be less of the older stuff and more newer stuff, hopefully by this coming Monday. So just to give you a date, I think the 21st you should have some new goodies coming out. So that's another way you can support the channel. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into this. So ban list is coming up very, very, very soon, or not. Maybe it'll come out in February, which would suck if it comes out in February, because I do know they have YCS Chicago. However, I wouldn't be surprised if the ban list comes out that weekend right after YCS Chicago. I think in times past, most ban lists kind of say, hey, here's the new ban list, won't be effective until the day after a YCS event, or sometimes a regional event. So I think the next regional, which we also have set up, here, the next regional, if we're looking at our handy dandy calendar over here, I think it's February 2nd. Oh, look at that. So in about a week and a half from now, give or take, right? We're on the 19th, so about 10, yeah, about 12 days. So close to a week and a half is the next regional event. So it gives you an idea if the ban list doesn't come out on the 21st, it'll come out roughly around then. And if we're unfortunate enough, it won't come out until like God knows when, and then we all have anxiety attacks, and then we all kind of freak out and spaz out. Hey, Ruby, what's going on? Please do join the discussion, because we're about to talk about the things that are happening on the ban list, what should happen, what shouldn't happen, and I'm just kind of sharing my personal point of view. I want to refrain from saying a ban list prediction. This is just my personal opinion mixed with a lot of you guys, whoever chooses to join in on the discussion. So first things first, Summon Sorceress. Summon Sorceress has always been a card. I've got a stupid deck for you. What happened to the ban list? The ban list is supposed to come out in a couple of days from now. Can't wait to hear about your stupid deck. So Summon Sorceress is a card that a lot of Yu-Gi tubers are like, I think everyone can agree with me that Summon Sorceress should be banned. Anything that just spins out anything from the deck shouldn't be a part of the game, blah, 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 blah. Now, That's fine. They're entitled to their opinion, and I respect their opinion whatsoever. However, I do want to respectfully disagree with their opinion. And I feel that there is a community decent sized enough that also disagrees with their community, because I'm very curious as to what the community says in response to what they say about Summon Sorceress. And a lot of them, they're like, Summon Sorceress is not a card that actually needs to be hit. I've already listed some of the reasons why Summon Sorceress shouldn't be on this ban list, but I will reiterate them in a much more shorter, condensed version. One, Thane spit out deck should be bad. One, Summon Sorceress for top decks is usually either an extender or a backup plan. Summon Sorceress is more so a primary plan for rogue decks, that of ABCs or Cyber Dragon. Because I'm not gonna lie, I use Summon Sorceress, but Summon Sorceress isn't the card that makes or break the deck. Essentially, like, if you hit Summon Sorceress, guess what? The deck is still going to keep going regardless of the deck that that the person is using. If you don't hit the Summon Sorceress, the deck is still going to keep doing whatever it's doing. So there's no point in hitting the Summon Sorceress. And now brings it to my next point. For top deck, Summon Sorceress is a backup plan for the most part. It's not really like a go-to nail in the coffin kind of thing. You can kind of steer. It's like if this initial hand falls short, I have Summon Sorceress to help me recover, kind of a thing, right? Three, I don't know why I did that. 3, Summon Sorceress requires quite an effort if they're not running Reproducus, for one, or if they have kind of like a workaway around with using Summon Sorceress and whatever the monster they're bringing out. Now, what I mean by that is, Summon Sorceress negates the effect of the monster they're spinning back out. So Summon Sorceress is essentially only good for link climbing or rank or synchro. It's not going to really be able to spin out a monster that can still use his or her, and I don't know if you want to give genders the cards, but its respective effect. Like, if you can't spin out Doom King and Doom King can still negate stuff, no, it doesn't work that way. So I mean, Summon Sorceress kind of keeps itself in check by saying, hey, the free card that I'm giving you, yeah, you can't really use it itself. You can either link climb with it, or you can sync or exceeds, but you can also manipulate the fact that if it has a grave effect, then yeah, sure, that's your kind of plus. But bear in mind, not every deck can successfully use Summon Sorceress. I don't know where a lot of people get this idea where every deck can use Summon Sorceress. Well, I mean, yeah, every deck can use it if every deck uses Reproducus, or if you just run zombies or machines or fiends. Like, those decks who generally keeps 3 or more of themselves out on the field, those are the decks that use Summon Sorceress. So, I mean, I think Sky Strikers might. I'm not even sure. Sky Strikers don't even concern themselves, at least to my knowledge, with Summon Sorceress. Lastly, every deck profile that I've seen, and I've seen a lot of profiles, we've built a ton of profiles here on the stream, we only use 1 Summon Sorceress. It's not like when we had Firewall, when it was unlimited and everyone was using 3 or 2, and you can exploit that. Summon Sorceress is a hard once per turn, so there's no real way of exploiting multiple copies of Summon Sorceress, and because the game is so fast, there's no reason to have multiple copies of Summon Sorceress. So putting it on the ban list, you're just kind of killing a backup plan or an extender for top decks, but you're killing or nerfing a lot of road decks that really relies on this card to be able to be a rogue deck, to be able to keep the meta in check. So those are my personal opinions about Summon Sorceress. But at the end of it, Summon Sorceress should not be on the ban list. Now, next card, Gumblar Dragon. I am not going to lie to you. I use Gumblar Dragon. I enjoy using Gumblar Dragon. Gumblar Dragon is a good kind of almost generic link for useful tool, especially for specific rogue decks out there, because I use a rogue deck. But the card is a little too much to keep in the game, especially for decks that utilizes him like it's no one's business. So I'm gonna say Gumblar needs to be banned. As much as I'd still want to have my Link 4 option available, I'm not gonna, for at least for me personally, I'm not gonna have another generic Link 4, and I don't want to use Saryuja. Um, um, and I can't really use any of the Boral stuff because who knows? I can't whip out 3 effect monsters every single time to use Boral. Like it's no one's business. But Gumblar Dragon, I mean, think of it. Gumblar Dragon is one of the most effective, especially if it's a turn 2. It's one of the most effective going second cards. And the reason being is because when you're going second and your opponent already has 1 to 2 cards at most from the end of their previous turn, unless they're playing Psyframes or they're playing like a million hand traps and they ended up drawing all of them. At that point, you just simply Gumblar, and you can use Gumblar for 2 at most. And if your opponent doesn't have a hand, you kill 3,000 life points off of your opponent, and then you just kind of OTK for the rest because all that's left is 5,000 life points. And who knows? Maybe your opponent paid life points as cost for a resource that they wanted to use, or whatever the case may be. Or you can deal at least 5,000 damage while also still clearing your opponent's board at the same time. So Gumblar is a really, really good turn 2 card, and it's also a dynamite turn 1 card because you're killing your opponent's hand before they even get a chance to use it. So Gumblar, you know, Gumblar needs to be in check, and unfortunately, the only way to keep him in check is by putting him on there. Now, the next card is the Rongo Bongo. What's the Exceed's name? I don't remember his the extra deck, not the extra deck. His actual name of the card. I'm trying to find it on here right quick. But basically, to my knowledge, this is a card that like you can't do anything. And what I mean by anything, I mean like, depending on, I think if he had 5 materials under his tool belt, that's it. It's game over for whomever is trying to go against the card. I'm trying to find the freaking name right now so that way I can at least tell you guys what it is. Blah 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 blah. No. Give me 1 second. I'll eventually find it. Can I please find it? Rongomaniad. I think that's the card name. So Rongomaniad, let's actually quickly pull this. Oh, I timed out due to inactivity. So Rongomaniad is another card I think a larger community, I would say, prefer to not see in the game anymore. I would assume is because of the amount of effects that he carries. You can't really do anything. But I want to double check because I haven't stumbled across this card yet. I just heard a lot about it. Rongo Mania. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. Oh, I spelled his name wrong. That's why. Rongo Mania. So this is the one. 2 or more level 4 warrior once returned duty blah 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 blah. If you have 1, cannot be destroyed by battle. If he has 2, gains 1500 attack. So the first 2 is not, you know, it's soft stuff. 3, unaffected by other card effects. Oh, okay. Now we're going into self protection. 4, your opponent cannot normal or special summon monsters. So what? You think they're playing Nurseburn? Like, what's going on here? 5, once per turn, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. You can't even... What? So it's just a little too much. Like, I think what killed this card the most is your opponent cannot normal or special summon monsters. And I think that's what kind of killed it the most. Because then what can your opponent do? They draw a card. They're forced to end turn or weed their way around using spells or traps. And that, I mean, especially with decks nowadays, what traps are they using? So that's just another thing. Sky Striker stuff. I think the thing that people are feel that that needs to happen with Sky Striker. Sky Striker's been a while, been around for some time now, and I think what they feel is instead of hitting the links, which is Hayate, I think they were trying to get to hit. I think they were just like, just hit the engage, and there was another spell that they wanted to hit, but essentially hitting two of the spells, that's what kind of would kind of put a null on it, for example. Other things that they want to consider is Maxi. Some people are firm believers in Maxi, and I'm sitting there like, Maxi shouldn't come out of the game. I think we need to keep Maxi out of the game. Maxi is just a little too unhealthy for the game, and even though they got the new hand trap coming out that's similar to Maxi, you're still kind of crossing bounds, because at least the other hand, Maxi is like card advantage versus life points advantage, and life points it's a great resource, but I mean, it's also very easy to diminish. I mean, look at all the FTKs that happen. Look at all the OTKs that still happen. So, and I think the new hand trap is a better kind of fit rather than Maxi. So we should probably keep Maxi on the ban list for at least a little while longer. Some other cards that they were also mentioning. Oh, some cards that they were saying that. Oh, Tomahawk. I'm sorry, I have the list right in front of me now. So Tomahawk. I think we need to wait a little bit before putting Tomahawk on there, because Tomahawk is just now starting to see a little bit more play, and that's mainly because of dangers. But at the same time, I still have hope for tunes. I still wanna be able to find ways to support. By the way, I sent the deck list over to you. I'll explain once you're ready to dive into the abyss. All right, no problem. Tomahawk, he's just kind of now starting to surface, and yeah, he does kind of produce a small problem in terms of just whipping out monsters left and right. So it's like an easy link based card. How many decks besides dangers, right? How many decks really run 2 level 7s that could spin themselves out on the board like it's no one's business? Like, really think about that. So I'd say kind of hold off. Oh, bunts the microphone. Hold off on looking at Tomahawk for a little bit, and let's see how far it actually goes. Like, who knows, maybe Tomahawk would be one of those cards where it's good but it's not too good, kind of a thing, right? And I think people are just kind of nitpicking at it because of the degeneracy it could have. But again, besides dangers, like I said, how many decks run 2 more level 7s that can spin themselves out on the board? I mean, the only other deck that I can think of is Red Eyes, and Red Eyes isn't a thing in any competitive format that I've seen so far. So yeah, kind of bear in mind with that one. Some of the limited stuff that they want to consider is Gold Sark. So they're basically trying to now put a check on Thunder Dragons, and so the transition is mainly about welcoming newer archetypes and making sure the older archetypes don't blast away the newer archetypes. That's essentially the fear. Now, I've played Thunder Dragons for the first time sometime like last night, I think. I doubt Tomahawk will get banned because you know how summon it, all the links, also extra running consistent. Yeah, so but so I just played Thunder Dragons for the first time last night, and it wasn't even like the TCG build. It was like this is like a TCG OCG mix, kind of preparing for the future, kind of a thing. And I don't know, the guy didn't start off with that golden of a hand. So for me personally, I can't fully understand the extent that Gold Sark has for Thunder Dragons. However, from what I have heard and read, Gold Sark is an essential card for Thunder Dragons, but I don't think Gold Sark, and it's just me sharing my personal opinion, I don't think Gold Sark is a make or break for Thunder Dragons, right? I think it's one of those things where you can consider it, but I wouldn't limit it. Maybe like semi-limit it if you wanna put a null on it. I mean, at the end of the day, they're just trying to get Colossus and Titan out. And I don't think it all they have to do is just activate a thunder monster's effect from the hand. So what is Gold Sark really gonna do? But again, that's just kind of speaking from lack of experience of seeing what Thunder Dragons can actually do. And a lot of test hands that I've seen online, they don't really start off with Gold Sark. They kind of start off with other generic things for Thunder Dragon. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the lack of experience is why I'm saying that. There's just something to consider. Other things, they want to Altergeist. Altergeist Multi-Faker is a card that they want to limit. I don't know. Maybe we should kind of leave Altergeist alone. Altergeist do show representation at regionals and at YCSs, but I would say they haven't really dominated, I guess you could say. It's maybe because Sky Strikers and Thunder Dragons have a bigger check than Altergeist. I would say maybe consider hitting Multi-Faker for the rogue decks out there. I haven't faced an Altergeist, but I have seen a couple of plays with Altergeist, and it doesn't seem like Altergeist is such a huge problem to where or I wouldn't say huge, but a big enough problem to where you need to say, all right, we're gonna put this in check. I think people are saying hit Altergeist Multi-Faker because again, it's one of those things where you want to help the newer stuff that's coming out make that transition from being unknown to being a part of the game. So maybe that's why hit Multi-Faker, but aside from that, you know, coming off of the list, people want Shaddoll Construct. People want Envoy of the End. And there was one more. I already told you about Maxi. Oh, oh no. That was supposed to be limited. So I don't remember what the other one. Maybe Shuri, Strategist of the Necros. I think those are fair things to come off of the list. I think the game has evolved so much that some of these things wouldn't really hurt or alter the state of the game. It's I don't know. It's like one of those things where these cards have been out of the game either long enough or too long to where you don't really know what's going to happen anymore other than just like, it's there. It's like when they brought back card destruction. Everyone's just losing their mind, and then you barely see card destruction see play. You see card destruction see play for things that are kind of, it's 50-50. Everyone always wants Pot of Greed off of the ban list, but the card will never come off. It's a free +1 for absolutely nothing. But I mean, like that card has got me so speechless. I didn't know how else to respond to it. But other cards that we should probably consider, at least limiting or semi-limiting. So basically pulling from the list is maybe one Astrograph. Kind of bring Pen Magicians back into the game. The deck was enjoyable for at least those playing it. Yes, the turns took an insane amount of time, but if you keep Electromite, if you keep Electromite at 1, arguably keep Skulker out of the game. I mean, Astrograph Sorcerer will only reintroduce Pen Magicians back into competition, but I think if having one Sorcerer with the inability to really recycle over and over like it did back when it was freaking killing everyone, it's one of those things where Pen Magicians might go from top tier to like absolutely nothing to becoming rogue. And so I think it'd be interesting seeing that transition for Pen Magicians happen, especially since the newer Pen Magician stuff coming out, I don't remember when. It's like soon. I think it's maybe like next month or a couple months from now. So we get to see that happening. Other cards, I think one one of my favorite comments somebody made was Masterpiece. No, I say no because I absolutely detest that card to this, like, the core of my heart. I hated it so hard. That card should never come out of that ban list. However, if I want to see something interesting happen in the meta, maybe Masterpiece to 1. I personally don't want it at all, but who Who knows? And I think a lot of it also revolves around what's that link that everybody wants that we were like, it's not gonna happen. It's a link to, it's a fire. Hey, Denied, welcome back to the stream. Ruby, Denied, help me. What's that link to monster that everybody wants in a TCG, but at the same time they fear if that card and Summon Sorceress is on the same thing. It's a fire. We were looking at it last night. What is it called? Whatever that card's called. It's gonna bother me for the rest of my life now. Needle Fiber, thank you, Deny. But if Needle Fiber kind of comes back into the game, the cards that kind of created problems, yeah, that should stay away. Is it a link 4? I thought Needle Fiber was a link 2. But yeah, other cards to kind of keep in mind. I'm just kind of looking at the list now at this point. I'm just trying to throw my own kind of personal swing on it. What if we get Ancient Fairy Dragon? Zodiacs. Maybe we can get one Broad Bull. Either one Broad Bull or one Dryden. It's one or the other, and it's got to be a one of, right? And then we can reintroduce Zodiac back into the game, right? Change of Heart. I mean, we have other change, like we have creature swap and whatnot. So, you know, Change of Heart, another card probably would be fine to come off the list. Maybe at 1, give it a test. Delinquent Duo. You have Gumblar. What's the difference between Delinquent Duo and Gumblar? That's a conversation saved for another time. But I think Delinquent Duo probably should stay banned at least a little while longer. Giant Trunade probably should stay banned, I think. Maybe it should stay banned for decks kind of like True Dracos. Well, I mean True Dracos currently. If Masterpiece comes out, then leave Giant Trunade in the ban list. If he doesn't come out, maybe consider one Giant Trunade. So it's kind of like, for me personally, it's like ease these problematic cards back into the game and see how it does. And if it does a little too much, then you can put him back on the list. But yeah, it's practically all that I can think of. But yeah, I guess my mood is just like, bring Pen Magicians back with 1 Astrograph, ban Gumblar, leave Summon Sorceress alone, ban the Rongomania. By the way, I'm about to do a little bit in real life with my homie who is getting back into the game. He is originally from La Habra, California. Well, I've never been there, but tell him I welcome him back into the game. He's coming in at probably the most mixed variety format. Max C should stay out of the game. So yeah. But yeah, there's my opinions on the upcoming ban list. So, yeah, there's not much more to say. I mean, if they got Cosmos back, might as well. But yeah, anything else that you guys have to share, consider, please share it in the comments below. Or if you are currently here on stream, go ahead and continue blowing up my chat and telling me and sharing with me your opinions. And again, YouTube, if you wish to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button, and I will see you all in the next one. It's